Hi, it's Nikki Jensen.
And Brie Piccone.
And we're
Late to the Party,
a weekly podcast about film, fashion, and pop culture from two best friends mentally pretending to be our twin brother in 2006. Today, we are talking about the 2016 comedy She's the Man, starring Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum. And we're joined by some very special guests, Jackie and Danielle from No More Late Fees. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
We're excited to have you guys.
Thanks for inviting us.
Happy to be here.
We always love hanging out with other besties.
Yes. I was thinking that too. I was like, wait, we're all best. This is great. This will be a fun time.
A best friend square is what it is.
Yes. When podcasts collide, because No More Late Fees, you guys talk about very similar films to ours.
Yeah, we cover movies from 1995 to 2005. Jackie and I used to work at Blockbuster, so
You've got to tell us about that.
Yeah.
Like, we're dying to know how that was. Like
the relics of the past. I don't know, Jackie, how was our experience?
I really liked it. Except for the customers. Like if I could just shelve movies and like organize things, it was great. I did not like to work the register though. And for a portion of my time, I worked in Boca. So the clientele was very needy and demanding. So
They were rich.
they were.
What
Yeah.
were people in Boca Raton renting in that time?
Gosh.
The one that sticks out is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and they
Yeah.
were furious that it was subtitled and they wanted the English version.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to them, like, no, this is what we have. It's in Chinese movie. Like,
It's not dubbed. It's
yeah.
Yeah. Get out of my face.
Yeah. And then the other thing was just the transition from full screen to widescreen and trying to explain to them like, no, the black bars on top and bottom means you actually see more of the movie, not less.
Right.
And then them being mad about that. And I had to print up pictures showing like an entire character was cropped out in a full screen version. It was a mess.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they were a lot to handle. They'd also literally try to invite us to their homes. I don't know if that happened to you, Jackie,
Oh.
but
Oh,
to
yeah.
set up their DVD players. So the transition from VHS to DVD was also very strenuous for them. So
Yeah, it's like it's color coded, red to red, white to white, yellow to yellow. Plug it
I'm
in.
not-
It's fine.
I'm not coming to your house. I am not a servant girl for your bidding, sir, ma'am.
it's wild.
Yeah.
That's both of them.
That was not what I expected.
I love it. That seems almost quaint compared to how things are now.
It was a time. It really
It was.
was. And like if you worked a Friday or Saturday night, because
Oof.
that's when new releases would come out on Fridays, right?
Mm-mm.
Thursday nights.
Tuesdays.
Damn, I don't remember anymore. But people, okay, so the new releases would come out on Tuesday, but people mostly would come on the weekend and it would be packed. And the new releases would be gone because if you were smart, you came on Tuesday to get it. If not, you came early. And if you missed the boat, then you were asking for it. And we'd constantly have to go check the bins to make sure no one had returned it. We knew they wouldn't, but they had to like physically see you do it or they'd complain. So
Or they'd stand there and they'd be like, oh, someone just dropped something off. I'm like, do you not see this line to the back of the store? Like, I can't just check every single thing that's dropped off as soon as it's dropped.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I would lie and say, here, give me your card. And I would pull up their account. And then I'd say, okay, I've got your number. If a new one comes in, I'll call you. I never called.
Oh, he just told them what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
That's customer service, baby. You just gotta be like, and when they came in, be like, man, it was crazy. Nothing came in. I'm glad you came back though. I saved this copy for you over here. I didn't. It just was there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was Blockbuster.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. But it was an experience. People had a reason to leave their house. They, that first date, if you're going to go watch a video, you go to Blockbuster, and it was so key to finding out if you really liked each other, right? Because seeing what movie a person likes and doesn't like, that's your future right there. So
I wish we had that now.
yeah. Oh man.
I know. I feel like we spend most of this podcast like reminiscing about times like we didn't experience, but also being like, oh my God, it would be so cool to live in the early 2000s and be our age now. And, go to Blockbuster on a date. And now we have two Blockbuster besties in the flesh. I'm like that.
I mean, it's okay. On one hand, it was super cool that you got to go to Blockbuster and like have a space to go. But on the other hand, we had to print out GPS instructions on multiple pieces of paper to try to figure out where we were going. And when like movies like Spider-Man and the sequels to Star Wars came out, you had to wait, you had to camp out and wait in line. Like you couldn't pick your seat like you can when you go to the movie theaters now.
Yeah.
So there's some benefits to not being in that time. But also you can go clubbing and you could go to New Orleans and flash your boobs. And rarely would somebody get a snap of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could live your life with kind of under the radar. But now it's like you're on the internet forever. So
and now we willingly put ourselves on the internet forever.
Right. Yeah, we do. Willingly.
We're a part of the problem.
We are.
There was nothing like running home and like signing on to AIM, yelling at everyone not to get on the computer and hearing that message, "You've got mail," and just be like, "Oh my God, who sent me a message?" And it's Jackie. And I'm like, damn, it's not the boy that I love.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, speaking of Blockbuster, I did spend a lot of my childhood at Blockbuster, which we talk about on this podcast a lot. And I can remember being like, what, 11, and renting She's the Man.
That, I think this is 2006, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was still working there when this came out on DVD. So I'm sure I've rented out She's the Man.
It was our Amanda Bynes Renaissance time. We didn't know how good we had it back then.
We were talking about this before we recorded. It's such a loaded thing, but I'm still trying to unpack the Amanda Bynes Renaissance.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, I mean, obviously it started on Nickelodeon when she did She's All That. No, All That. My bad.
Well, she was all that.
She was all that.
She was all that.
And then she got the Amanda Show. And I think by the time she got the Amanda Show, Jackie and I probably weren't watching like Snick and Nickelodeon at that point. And then it was like Big Fat Liar, which
that was my movie.
Yeah. I think I was like super excited by the time What a Girl Wants came out. I was like, oh, I do like this because I like Colin Firth. And then I think after that, it was She's the Man. And then I think she did What I Like About You she had their TV show.
That was
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. And I remember watching the first season and being like, not loving it. Right. But it started to get better. Like it's like they were trying to figure out the flow of things. Because remember Simon Rex was on that first season, then he was just gone.
Simon Rex was on it?
Was the friend, right?
Huh? Who was the friend?
Leslie Gross was the friend.
She came later though. She wasn't there in the beginning, I don't think.
She was my favorite part of that show.
And
like that
hilarious.
show was great. Like Jenny Garth, Amanda Bynes, like all very top notch, but it was Leslie Gross for me.
Yeah. She's hilarious. You guys ever heard of a show called Popular?
No.
So back in our day, before Ryan Murphy created like Glee and American Horror Story, one of his first shows was Popular. And I think it lasted like 2 or 3 seasons. It was a teen comedy about 2 girls, very different girls from school, one popular, one not, whose parents got married. And so they had to live with each other. And that meant their like friends and family had to like collide. Gotcha. It was very campy, like very, very campy and hilarious, but insane. Like the plot lines were ridiculous after a while. but
Sounds
that
like my
was
kind of movie.
I know, good premise.
Ryan Murphy. That's like I would say I loved it. I loved Glee too, but like Popular was my jam, and Nip Tuck was more serious, and that was on FX, and those plot lines were insane. So if you're looking for some more Ryan Murphy in your life, that's definitely what you should go watch.
Okay.
But
I'll
Leslie
check it
Grossman
out.
was on Popular. That's
Yeah.
what made me go down that rabbit hole.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look.
Yeah, for sure. I love Ryan Murphy. I was a Gleek growing up, so for better or for worse.
I watched it all the way to the wheels fell off. I was committed at that point, so it was a journey. It was
Danielle
really
used
good.
Danielle used to host Glee nights in New York City and
Yeah.
Manhattan.
I used to have Glee parties, and a
That
ton of
sounds
people
fun.
would come, and I used to host like one time Fox News, the local station, came because I was hosting the season finale of like the first season. And it was just, because Glee was such a phenomenon at that time. So they came and interviewed me for host. The reason I did it is because I didn't have basic cable or anything. And I was like, I need to watch this show. So I just asked some bars that I knew, and then people wanted to see it. So it was kind of weird.
That's awesome, though.
It was really
Created a
fun.
happening.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then NBC Universal asked me to host their when they did the Glee project. So they had like a season premiere party with the whole cast. So I got to do that too, which was
Did you
cool.
get to meet the cast?
Yeah. So
Nice.
it's really cool like watching them because so many of them have gone to Broadway. So like
Mhm.
Lindsay Pierce, I think, and she was in Mean Girls and Wicked, and Alex Newell, who just won a Tony for Shucked, I think it's called. Forgive me if I got that wrong. So yeah, I got to meet all of them. It was really cool.
That's awesome. I'm like jealous. I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. That's its own like Amanda Bynes TV show waiting to happen from back in the day.
That the whole I'm waiting for them to make a movie about all the stuff that happened on Glee behind the scenes. Hot Mess Express, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know much.
Yeah.
I only watched like a couple eps, so I don't know much about Glee.
You had to be
Just like
there,
the highlight reels.
It might be a wild thing to watch now, especially the musical numbers and any of the humor at that time might be a little weird now, but who's to say?
It was wild even when it came on. You're
Mhm.
like, what is happening right now? But also, I'm watching this, so
Fully invested.
I do feel like that a little bit about Amanda Bynes. I feel like with Amanda, to me, I was always she was like thrown at me as the person for me. Like the Amanda show was like, oh, you're a little girl. You gotta like Amanda Bynes.
Yeah. Popcorn
Yeah.
pants, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, you have to be into the popcorn pants.
Well,
But yeah.
I think it was the Holy Trinity at the time, which was you either were Amanda Bynes. I mean, you could like all three, but you probably fit with one, Lindsay Lohan or Hilary Duff.
Mm.
Those were the it girls at that time. And I think it's the 2004 Vanity Fair.
It's raining
magazine.
teens.
It's raining
Yes.
teens.
That photo
That
shoot.
that photo shoot is like a timestamp of the time, and those were the girls.
Yes.
Those I don't even think like so I saw someone talking about this. I don't even think if they did something like that now, it would even have the same effect that that particular magazine coming out did. Because now with social media, you see those people kind of
Mhm.
cross paths way more than we did back in that time.
Mhm.
And it was just really cool.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to like I did some research on Amanda Bynes, just her career, because I was a Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan girl.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to get into Amanda, but I didn't realize that, she was in like a kind of a competition with Lindsay Lohan at the time. I never would have thought they would have mingled. I don't know why.
Well, I think it's because at the time it was so much of Hillary and Hillary and Lindsay. But like I did this post because I always go down these rabbit holes, and they like dated the same people. And then I did a post about like the guys that were their leads and how like multiple guys were going. You had Chad Michael Murray going in Cinderella Story, and so it was just really interesting. But I think Hillary and Amanda got along. I never saw that Amanda and Lindsay had beef, but now that I think about it, I don't remember seeing a lot of pictures with them together either. But I think Amanda kind of stayed under the radar.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, did she have beef with anyone? I mean,
if she did, she kept it to herself. I think she had bigger problems with the Dan Schneider of it all and all that stuff. So
yeah, I think it was more of a self-inflicting thing. Mila Tequila on YouTube has this 2-part series about Amanda Bynes. And she talks about how Amanda would look up to Lindsay and be like, I have to be like her. So it wasn't like an actual beef. It was more of Amanda's unfortunate like insecurities.
Gotcha.
So womp womp. I'm sorry.
No, it's just so sad because Hollywood kind of does that with women. I mean, in society in general, like the idea that we can't all support each other and be good,
Yeah.
And then it's like the girls don't even get to talk to each other. They have like 50 people in between them feeding them lies and nonsense. You know what I mean? So many. And it's been going on for so long. Like even Patti LaBelle and Diana Ross, like they had huge beef back in the day. And it wasn't until like when Oprah had her show, she used to have these like brunches and she'd invite like all these superstars together. And it wasn't until one of those brunches that they actually sat down 20, 30 years later to figure out that they didn't really have a problem with each other. It was just fed to them.
I think that is a lot of it. It's just things being fed. Like the creation of this competition is just, it's all made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I think Amanda struggled with this movie too, because she said she had body dysmorphia after filming this movie, being a boy, which is so sad because I thought she was hilarious and
Yeah.
It's crazy to think, like I read that too, and it's crazy to think about that because in all that in the Amanda show, she was such a little comedian, like almost reminiscent of like a Lucille Ball or a Carol Burnett or like a Jim Carrey, but girlified and little. And it's weird to think that she would feel dysmorphic about it because she played all these, it just from the outside, it seemed like she was so confident in her comedic abilities and that wouldn't faze her. But it's weird to think that it did.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for her age, coming up as a celebrity in the 2000s and just like having to be extremely skinny, and then they're like making you compete with each other. And, then they started talking about like Britney getting breast implants and Lindsay getting breast implants. And, I think there was just so much stuff going on. And if the rumors are true about what was happening on set with her, with, that man, that definitely is going to mess with your head and, how you feel and how you view yourself. So I could imagine she was going through a lot.
Yeah. Well, in the early 2000s, though, we were not privy to this info, and it was Amanda Bynes' time to shine.
Thanks. I know, like, where do we go from?
We were living life, sipping on our Kool-Aid jammers or whatever those were called.
Yeah, I do feel like she was on top for a while there.
She was. What a Girl Wants. So good.
Yeah.
Jackie didn't love it.
It's weird because like out of the three, Lindsay, Hillary, and Amanda, I definitely preferred Amanda, but I think that was because of all of that, and then What a Girl Wants, and then obviously She's the Man, and even like Sydney White I really enjoyed, but or not What a Girl Wants, What I Like About You. And What a Girl Wants was just never really high on my watch list.
I liked Sydney White too, but it was never like if I was gonna rank them, it would probably be the least favorite one. I might even put Big Fat Liar above it. I don't know why.
It's number one for me, baby.
Really?
I don't think I've ever seen Big Fat Liar.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I like the deep dive Amanda Bynes, like when she was in Saved and Easy A, like when she got to be like the crazy character
Yeah.
and like kind of
I didn't-
obsessive. That's what I liked.
I didn't realize she was in Saved. What
Yeah,
is
I was
I
about
have
to
to
say,
rewatch
Wasn't
that.
she in Saved? I could be
don't
lying.
know. She
I could be
was in
thinking of someone else.
Hairspray as
Yes.
yes, that's right.
Sorry, not
I
Saved.
remember.
It's probably because the Saved character
It's
is similar to the one
Easy.
in Easy A, so I probably crossed those in my brain.
I felt you, but also I love Saved. So anytime you say Saved, I'm like, yes.
I can't wait for us to do that one.
So back to Blockbuster for a hot second, because I have questions. We have questions.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember the Shakespeare, like post-modern age where this like subsect of like teen comedies in the late 90s, early 2000s, all based on Shakespeare or like
Yes.
a classic? What are
Yeah.
your thoughts? Were these being rented all the time?
Well, I mean, they were really popular. I mean, in that teen movie, like 10 Things I Hate About You, Taming of the Shrew. Then even Clueless probably kicked it off.
Jump-started it,
Yeah. Well, personally, the 1995 BBC adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, the
That's Jane
miniseries.
Austen, not
We're still
Shakespeare.
talking about classics. I know. She said Shakespeare or classics. I'm aware. I know about my girl Jane. But they started to become really popular. Then we had Emma around the same time after Clueless came out. I think it came out in 95 and then or 96 Emma came out. Or no, did Clueless come out in 97?
No,
Wait,
Was it 95?
Clueless is an
95.
adaptation, a Shakespeare adaptation.
Emma.
It's
Oh, right.
of Emma
No, I knew.
of
Okay,
Jane
just
Austen.
kidding. I knew that.
Who else?
My favorite was trying to explain to people that, which is based on Othello,
Yeah.
like just saying the movie title, because people would be like they thought it was an exclamation and not the title. I'm like, oh, you should watch and then they'd be like waiting for the movie title. I'm like, no, that's the title of the movie. Sorry.
One of Jackie and I's favorite adaptation, and at the time it was pretty niche, but when we did the podcast, that was a great opportunity to find our people because not a lot of people we knew about the movie. It's called Get Over It. And it's it's an adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream with Kirsten Dunst. It's
And Ben Foster.
and Ben
And
Foster
Sisqo?
and Sisqo
Yes.
and Mila Kunis. There's like so many people. Martin Short.
Colin Hanks.
Yeah. And we love that movie. It's such a like niche, silly movie, but it was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty popular. People, by the time like the 2000s came around, some of those movies were considered like in the middle section of Blockbuster. They weren't new anymore. But we saw people re-renting them. Those were the ones that people kept out for like 7 days, getting late fees on because they just rewatched them over and over again.
So you think they hold up pretty well?
Yeah, a few of them still do. We're doing 10 Things I Hate About You this year, but we already know.
Yeah.
Clueless still very much holds up. I mean, I think I was side-eyeing it then, but I still side-eyed the That's Your Stepbrother. I don't care how long your parents are married. It's super weird.
It's weird.
Other than that, it holds up pretty well.
Oh, love Clueless.
Any other ones, Jackie, you think?
I'm just thinking of like Casanova, another Heath Ledger movie.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
and then some of them are just like direct adaptations, like Romeo plus Juliet.
yeah, that shit was the best. I would say our generation because like every generation makes Romeo and Juliet, right? And I think at the time when it came out, maybe our freshman year of high school, we had to read Romeo and Juliet, and I think the movie came out maybe like the next year or something, or the same year, I can't remember. But I remember being like, Mom, I have to watch this for school. Hello.
Yeah. With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
as
Baz
Romeo.
Luhrmann. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We watched that in my freshman lit class.
See, like we were watching that one from the 70s when we
Ugh.
were in school, and then everyone else got the really awesome version. So
No, I have on here what's your favorite Shakespeare adaptation and why is it 1996's Romeo plus Juliet? It just hits.
Oh gosh, what is my favorite one? I do love the Romeo and Juliet one, but I don't know if it's my favorite because I don't rewatch it a lot.
I'm gonna cheat and Google Shakespeare movie adaptations
Mm,
so that I have all of the information.
okay.
I really like Romeo and Juliet for some reason. Like it was a really good movie. Oh, we forgot Lion King is Hamlet.
Mhm.
Ah.
I think like even Deliver Us from Eva. It's so there's so many. And then I think part of why I like She's the Man so much is because there's an 80s movie called Just One of the Guys, which is a
Yes.
similar.
We
And
just
it was
watched
one of my
that like in
mom's
our own
favorite
time.
movies. So we
I s-
watched it all the time.
It's a rarity that Jackie has a movie from the 80s that I
It really
enjoyed. I very much love that adaptation. And then I was really excited because that's different.
What?
It's not a Romeo, it's not a
Shakespeare?
Shakespeare adaptation. Can't Buy Me Love, and then they did Love Don't Cost a Thing, but I don't know if that's not anything. I was gonna say is that Cyrano, but it's not.
Doesn't everything somehow relate back to
Yeah.
Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Right? Sort of.
Somehow, some way.
Somehow, I'm sure.
I
There's
do
some
love
connection.
I do love the Othello version with Lawrence Fishburne. And I remember having to watch the Hamlet version with Mel Gibson, and that one wasn't bad because Kenneth Branagh directed it, and he's like very Shakespeare. I would say Thor is very Shakespeare,
Yes.
actually.
Oh.
Very
I can see
Hamlet-esque, except his daddy don't get killed, he just gets banished. In the first one. How about you guys?
I mean, I did enjoy just one of the guys. Like I feel like it's kind of a better movie than She's the Man, even though I really enjoyed She's the Man. But
Yeah.
trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know. I also have to cheat to be honest. Like, I feel like there's so many that I don't like that I was surprised to find out that are Shakespeare adaptations.
Yeah.
Favorite is probably 10 Things I Hate About You for me.
It's a good one.
But I did just watch O for the first time, like when I was sick with the flu.
What did you think?
You know, as a kid, I remember seeing the poster and thinking it was going to be so cool and edgy and fun. And I don't know if it was me being sick talking, but I wasn't feeling it.
It's a little traumatic.
It is. It's very dark.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't as cool as I thought. I think I just saw Julia Stiles and what's his name? I just saw Save the Last Dance and I was like, they're gonna dance.
Sean Patrick.
Oh no,
But
it's not. It's Mekhi
him.
Phifer who's in it,
That's him.
and Josh Hartnett is in it as
Yes.
well. And so isn't isn't Martin Sheen in it too as the like dad or something, the coach?
yes.
I think he's I feel like he's in it. Is he the coach, aka Joshua Hartnett's dad in that movie?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
But I was
don't
also
know.
sick, so it's a bad fever dream for me. I was just a lot of people from the early 2000s.
Yeah, that one was just, it was really serious. And I think it was cool that they try to make it a teen adaptation. But I remember at the time, people were like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It was just too much. Because at least Romeo and Juliet, like they somehow made it modern
Yeah.
and there's love. But in O, it's like jealousy and Also, it talks about race, and I think that always makes people uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
it didn't do the numbers like the rest of the other adaptations, and it's not as light. It's a
It's not
lot
like a fun
more
romp then.
No.
Definitely
Right.
not. And like, I'm someone who in college studied Shakespeare, and the marketing of even like 30 years later almost really got me. So I was like, it's
Yeah.
going to be cool and an edgy adaptation. And then I thought about Othello while I was watching it, and I was like, oh, they're going to talk about race relations.
Yeah, they're gonna talk about it. I mean, and they did it in a way that I think was digestible.
Yeah.
And at that time, like if you think about like the 90s and 2000s, this is like the first time that I think in the early 90s when they talked about interracial dating, it was more of like, ooh, we don't really do this. But in the late 90s and 2000s, this is like when it was becoming a little bit more mainstream. But the nuances of what that was like, him, and I think making him a basketball player was perfect because it's like a way to have him be in this elite school with these people, and he's popular, and then you have Josh Hartnett's character who's looking at him as like he should not have these things because inherently they should belong to me because he's Black. So it was very interesting the way that they did it. I just don't think teens at that time were understanding
Weren't
it.
ready.
Right. And then marketing it that way to teens meant that older populations weren't even looking at it. So it missed its mark. Yeah.
It wasn't a fun romp like She's the Man,
It was
No.
not.
but I get it. What did you guys think of She's the Man?
It's great. It's one of my faves. I don't know. I feel like if we were going to make what's a contingency, I guess, or be lenient out of our 2005 time period, that might be one of the movies we would do. How about you, Jackie?
I think, like I said, I think it probably falls pretty high towards the list for me, for like Amanda Bynes movies. It's just fun, and the characters are all very quirky but still believable. Because sometimes you get auxiliary characters where you're just like that this is just a caricature of a person, but like you really believe like Eunice is in it. Like
Yeah, I didn't hear you talk about Eunice.
so I very much enjoy She's the Man. And then who doesn't like mid-aughts Channing Tatum in a movie?
Yes. I totally forgot he was in this movie when I rewatched it. I was like, wait a minute. What is he doing here?
I love that Amanda Bynes really fought for him to be in this movie. And I know that they were fighting it because he was so much older than her at the time. But she was just like, no, he's like the perfect person. And I think before this movie, I can't really think of something else I had seen with him in it, except that horrible, horrible movie with Anne Hathaway. I think it's called Havoc. Oh God, that movie's so bad.
What?
There's a movie.
You've seen it?
I have seen clips of it.
It is literally white suburban kids trying to live that life. And they play those roles too well because it is cringe to hear Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he's in it. So is Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it as well. There's like a lot of people in that movie.
Huh. I guess they wanted to sweep that one under the rug. Like they wanted to forget about it.
I wish I could sweep it out of my brain, but I can't. And it's in our time period, Jackie. So yay.
Yeah. Eventually, we're gonna have to get to some of those where we're just like, why?
Yeah. There's always going to be some movies like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they're the most fun episodes because balls to the wall,
Yeah. There's even some movies that like we've been like, oh, we loved it growing up. Let's do an episode on it and rewatch it. And then it's like, oh, this wasn't good.
It's not how I
we have conflicting views sometimes. Sometimes we're on the same page. but sometimes one of us brings our nostalgia to a movie and we're like, we don't care. We still love it, while the other one tears it apart.
Yeah,
It's
that's
those are
happened.
rough. Those are rough episodes.
Yeah. It's all part of the process.
Oh,
though.
for sure. We'll have to turn it off eventually when we get down Hillary Duff territory. I just know it.
We did Raise Your Voice, and I was like, what did you make me watch?
Me? I didn't like that movie. I don't think, no, that one was.
No,
we
it was
both-
a guest that had requested it.
Right. It was yes. Okay. Yeah, sometimes we have guests and they want to watch things and we're like, okay. Sometimes we have guests who are our friends and want to torture us. Like our friend Andrew made us watch
Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
It's so bad.
I don't know. I love bad movies though.
That one, there's bad and then there's that. I don't know what that is, like what I would categorize that as.
It's literally like, I don't know what I just watched. And somehow I was still complimenting the CGI because it was from 2002. I'm like, the CGI really held up, but I don't know what I just watched.
Never again.
No.
So bad.
I think of that movie and like Freddie got fingered in this like weird universe that I kind of dig. But she's the man. Channing Tatum really like surprised me. Not in this movie, but he just surprises me in general. He's someone that like you just look at and you're like, that's a model. And that's it. And then, you know, he's a very good actor. Come to find out, he can dance. He's dating Zoe Kravitz, which means he's the coolest.
I think what really surprised me is his sense of humor and willing to make fun of himself. Because like he shows up in This Is the End as like a gimp. I'm just like, Channing Tatum, I didn't know you had it in you. Like it's very refreshing when he pops up randomly in movies and in spaces you didn't really think, because you have this perception of him, he would ever be game to do.
I love him in the 21 Jump Street movies.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking. He's great. He's hilarious in those.
Yeah. Yeah, and he can do dramatic roles, because when I saw The Vow, I was like, ugh, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. And it was believable. Also, Rachel McAdams can literally do no wrong, and how could you not pretend to fall in love with her, you know?
Or prove your love to her every day.
Right. You know what's just a sad note? The Vow was based on a real couple, and they broke up in real life, y'all.
Oh,
No.
I hate
They
that.
didn't
I hate
make
hearing
it.
things like that.
They didn't make it. And guess what? She cheated on him. But I would use that to my advantage. I would be like, I didn't remember. I forgot again.
damn.
You're my husband.
Right, yeah.
Keep it going.
I would have to. I would have to. You know how expensive divorce is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
what are
way.
your thoughts on Channing Tatum?
I like him. I mean, he's hot. I don't know. It's hard not to like him. I mean, he does play these roles where he's kind of like a jock, but which I don't usually go for that kind of dude, but I'm like okay with it, you know?
I love that his abs, his six pack is like high up here. And then there's just this tail situation happening here, right? Like, why are your abs up here? And then what is it like? What do we call this section here?
Oh.
Science.
Yeah.
I only know this because I saw a viral Instagram TikTok where this husband was showing his wife pictures of abs of different celebrities. And he's like, I bet you won't guess. And she, of course, got all of them right. And then Channing's torso came up and he was like, yeah, that's a six pack up there. I was like, damn.
It's Channing's Tatum.
Yeah. That's what we'll call that area. It's a new scientific term. I love the cast in this movie. the girl that plays one of Viola's friends and the girl that plays the blonde girl, I can't, not the mean one, but then the one that likes her.
Mercedes?
No.
Is it Olivia?
Olivia. Both those girls were in another movie like literally the next year or the same year called The Covenant. That movie's plot is stupid. The movie is dumb, but it has literally War and Peace from Sky High Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
It has the guy from Gossip Girl.
Oh, is it my man Chase Crawford?
It is. It
Okay.
is. And Sebastian Stan, like every man in that movie is fucking hot. I don't care what the plot is. I don't even know what the plot is. I know it's bad, but if it comes on TV, I'll watch it every time.
We'll add that one to the list too.
Yes.
I love like this being exposed to like some more movies.
Invite more old ladies to your show. You'll find out about more movies. But yeah, The Covenant, it's a hot watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
Hotter than Magic Mike.
It's different.
Different.
Even Soderbergh didn't write The Covenant?
No. But you know what? It might be a good double feature.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. It might be a good double feature, you know?
Yeah.
Just
I'm
saying.
into this.
I would end on Magic Mike though. Start with Covenant.
Okay. Well, speaking of crazy plots,
Okay.
this is a crazy plot. I mean, this is a Shakespeare plot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so how would you describe the plot of this film? So we have Viola, played by Amanda Bynes, who is on the girls' soccer team in her high school. And it gets cut. And she hatches this plan to dress like her brother, Sebastian, and join his prep school team and be a boy.
And get back, like beat the other team that had kicked her out, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other things.
Who her boyfriend played on it. And another like connection, because the guy who plays her boyfriend in this movie and Channing Tatum were both in the Step Up movies, which are just white versions of You Got Served. But I digress. The movie's it's a mess. Shakespeare was a messy bitch. Really and truly. That's all this is. It's just mess. But fun mess.
Such fun.
I don't think anybody else could have done this movie besides Amanda Bynes because of her comedic timing and her physical like acting makes this even more hilarious playing this role.
Especially during this time, I don't think there was anyone.
Yeah. I'm trying to think and I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a couple years after Emma Stone, I could see slaying.
Yeah.
But
with just one of the guys that I feel like they took such a serious approach to it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both coming from a very feminist standpoint in the sense that there's an injustice and they want to prove that there is an injustice happening and that the only way to get what they want, they have to be a man. But I don't know. I just feel like there are so many red flags. Like, how did they not know?
How did they not notice that
Right. She didn't look anything like her brother to me.
They're built way different.
It's true. Like their body, like when he I mean, even at the end when he's on the field and then all of a sudden she's on the field instead, like you're like, well, if they were, you can kind of tell. Like,
he's like a foot taller than her.
Right. But I guess
the disbelief.
Yeah. Who's his crazy girlfriend? The girlfriend, she's in Virgin River now and This Is Us.
Yeah. Her character in this is Monique.
Monique, yes. Yeah, she was hilarious. I mean, she was mean to Viola but I just think she was pissed because her boyfriend was trying to adopt her all the damn time. He's in England.
She's trying to find him.
Right.
But also, if I tell you I don't know where my brother is, I don't know where my brother is. Like, why are you
Love will make
hunting
us
me
crazy.
down?
She lying though, Jackie. She was lying. She knew where her brother was, and Monique knew it.
This is Danielle being the villain sympathizer.
I'm just these are all truths. Monique wanted to know where her boyfriend was. Viola knew where her boyfriend was. She asked where her boyfriend was. Viola said, I don't know. And Viola was lying. Just saying.
But Viola was lying because she was pretending to be her brother. She couldn't like completely come clean to Monique.
Well, don't gaslight Monique as if she didn't know shit was wrong.
If Monique wouldn't keep bothering her, she wouldn't have to gaslight her.
If she would keep lying about where her boyfriend was, she wouldn't keep bothering her.
And Sebastian wasn't interested at that point. He was like,
well, you're supporting a fuckboy, Viola. So again, is Monique really wrong?
I will say in defense of Monique, just to play devil's advocate, when she does come up to Amanda Bynes or Viola the first time around, maybe in a sassy tune asks where Sebastian is, but she just asks. She says that she looks like her brother from the back. Fair enough. They're sporty. But Amanda Bynes does say call 1-800-BIATCH, which is rude.
Like, who is more rude?
I think if Viola had just told her, my brother's in England, maybe she would have hopped a plane and she'd have been gone.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Problem solved. But yeah, Monique, she's a touch, what's the word?
Dramatic.
Intense?
Yeah. She's a little bit much. I could see why he would be too chicken shit to just break up with her to her face.
Yeah, she's pretty intense.
But that scene,
but not Viola as Sebastian.
No. But as those three fighting in the bathroom, they had stunt doubles for them on that. But they said the girls mostly did their stunts for that themselves doing that fight scene, which I was like, oh, look at them.
I enjoyed that debutante like fight scene in the bathroom. It really reminded me of Mariah Carey's Heartbreaker music video.
Yes.
When Mariah is fighting Mariah, and I live for that. So
think about how many confrontations in movies with women happen in the bathroom. So you have this movie, Bringing Down the House, one of my favorite fights scenes happens in the bathroom when Kimmy confronts Jules in My Best Friend's Wedding. It's a bathroom. I'm making a TikTok, Jackie.
Okay.
It goes down in the bathroom.
Why is that? That's such a symbol in teen comedies. The gals in the bathroom.
Have y'all ever had a fight in a bathroom? Like,
it's too dirty in there. I'm not trying to fall on the floor, you know.
I mean, Ghostface attacks Sydney in the bathroom.
And Jada Pinkett, her boyfriend, Omar Epps, in the bathroom.
Oh, it was more Omar Epps, sorry. Yep. You may have to do 2 parts, Danielle.
I know there's too many bathroom scenes.
An iconic place, an iconic location to brawl.
Yeah, I would be like, hold on. A kitchen makes more sense. That's where weapons are. Why are we in the bathroom?
Like in Kill Bill?
Yes.
But She's the Man is not Kill Bill. However,
no, it's not.
That would be interesting.
You know who else I love in this movie? Who's absolutely just in her own world is Viola and Sebastian's mom.
Yes.
Jackie, is she not playing the same role as she does in Just Friends?
Just Friends.
Yeah. She's got that ditzy mom role down pat.
I mean, it's bringing in the paycheck, so keep doing what you're doing.
We have the perfect role for you. It's ditzy mom. Like, I got it. I can do it.
Yeah. No, she's like lovable ditzy.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
Yeah.
Not a mean bone in her body, and her children are absolutely the worst, right? Doing all sorts of stuff behind her back.
But yeah, so this movie does start out with Viola, who is a tomboy who likes to play soccer. She's not like other girls.
Yeah.
She wears a Live Strong bracelet, and she's sporty. But her mom is really pressuring her to be, part of society and the debutante.
It's very Lorelai
lifestyle.
Gilmore.
Yeah.
Like gives me those vibes.
What are our thoughts on Amanda Bynes as Viola?
I think she nailed it. Like
Yeah.
no notes.
And did they
and even as Sebastian, like perfect. That wig is something else, but that wasn't really her, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, I think she did a great job in doing both roles. And I like, her. I think for the time, they had to let her play the Viola part so that we could see kind of a love romance unfold. Because they would have not let it just be her as Sebastian and him and Channing's like just naturally
I was
falling in
surprised
love.
by that a bit, like that she kind of meets him like as Viola, like at the kissing booth, like how they worked that in there.
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose. But just one of the guys, they don't show her as, which I loved, because then he has moments where he's like questioning like his sexuality, which is great because it's kind of like showing you could just literally fall in love with anybody, like, but they at that time they weren't going to do that. So
yeah,
I guess we went backwards and I'm alone.
I was looking for that like homoerotic tension between Amanda Bynes' Sebastian and Channing Tatum a little more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted more of those the Tarant, like what's his name? Moldovio.
Yeah.
But the tarantula scene where they're like holding each other and shrieking and almost touching noses. I wanted more of that tension as the boy.
Right. I wanted more of them being just alone together because a lot of the scenes are with the other guys from the team. And one of the guys used to be a Power Ranger. So I remember when watching, I was like, oh, that's the cute Power Ranger. I can't remember his name now. The guy with the dreads who likes Eunice.
I think it's Toby. I think
Is that his name?
Yeah. I just remember the ending scene where Eunice is like, oh, Toby.
Eunice is queen.
Yeah.
I do really like the very nervous talk about cheese and how Gouda is her favorite.
And it comes full circle, like the cheese comes full circle.
Do you guys think it's weird that Olivia ends up falling in love with Sebastian in the end? Like, wouldn't you have been weirded out at this point that you've been obsessing with his sister? Or why didn't she explore that maybe she just actually likes Viola?
Yeah.
I wanted more of that.
Yeah, they didn't unpack that enough. She kind of was like, wait a minute, I'm weirded out. Like, she does admit she's weirded out, but then she kind of just goes with it. She's like, oh wait, I gotta go find your brother, which she's never. I mean, he's an entirely different person.
Right. You don't know him. You've connected with Viola.
Yeah.
It was those lyrics.
It was the lyrics, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was his music that she did. So I guess, okay, you're right. We'll give him that. We'll give him that.
I would love a remake where we visit some of these like gender norms are blurred and like, do I just like the person rather than like a specific gender? Like, I would love to see that.
Same. A hot take. I love though Sebastian when he's Amanda, or when she's the man. When Amanda Bynes is Sebastian. Like I read some reviews, like some people were a little divided on it. I loved the weird Alabaman accent. It like that's when I think Amanda Bynes' comedy chops really shine, is when she's Sebastian. I don't really love when she's Viola, to be honest, but Sebastian is my man.
Yeah, she's definitely more fun when she's Sebastian, 100%. And
So
I
I
think we
get it.
get to know the character more as Sebastian than Viola.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't spend a lot of time with Viola.
Mm-mm.
Just
No.
the beginning mostly, and then when she like changes in the porta potties.
I love how
Wild.
supportive her friends are. Like they're literally just there to support her. They have no lives. They're not doing anything else. They're just aiding and abetting these crimes.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah, I would hope that if I was like having
yeah.
to disguise myself as a man to be on a soccer team,
100%. I'd just
do whatever you could, I guess.
for sure. I'd
I'd
stop.
advise you to get a better wig, though.
Yeah. It was almost Tyler Perry-esque.
Oh, it was, and it didn't really match Sebastian's. And at some point, I'd be like, "Hey, like, he's not around. Like, you could literally just say you got a haircut and get a better wig."
Right.
Or just commit, get the full haircut, like in just one of the
yeah.
guys. She got a
That's
haircut.
true.
She committed.
Oh yeah. But she looked so hot with her haircut. She pulled it off.
Yeah.
That's true. That's actually what I was thinking. And I was like, how do I word this?
And then we definitely get like a 10 things I hate about you moment where she's like trying to prove that she's Viola and she like flashes them, much like Kat does to get.
Yeah. But in just one of the guys, you actually see boobies.
Yep.
But I guess
They
this
didn't
was
show anything.
PG-13 or
Yeah.
PG-13, I think this movie was. I do miss that in just one of the guys, the brother is like my favorite part of that movie. He's so raunchy and ridiculous, and I kind of miss that because we don't get that from the real Sebastian because he's like not around.
The real Sebastian just also he seems more respectful, just judging by his room. Like the posters aren't as wild. Like he doesn't have naked ladies all over his bedroom. It's like normal stuff. So
I was actually confused by the posters. Like I thought it was Viola's room at first because there's 2 OAR posters. There's Gwen Stefani. I mean, I love it all, but like there's like Blink. I felt like I knew so much about Viola, and then it was Sebastian's room. I got kind of confused, but I loved it. I loved the musical taste of Sebastian.
I wonder if he went to go visit What a Girl Wants character in London when he went. They're actually surprised they're
so
triplets.
Much more awkward all around.
I like this. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about, so in the beginning Viola has this fuck boy of a boyfriend who's the captain of the soccer team.
He says to her like that she's like better than half the guys on the soccer team, like,
and then takes it back.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
And then she says my favorite line in the movie, end of discussion, and then she's like, end of relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a douchebag for real.
And I like how like Viola's just like, yeah, I don't like you anymore. She gets the ick real quick and just she doesn't, no chance with him.
I love that their soccer coach is just like, yeah, there's no rule that you have to be a boy to be on this team. I don't play those games, which is cool.
Yeah, he was.
But also, if you believe that, why are there no girls on this team?
It's very contradictory.
Does Illyria have a girls' soccer team?
I don't think so. Because I think she would have just joined it if that was the case. But also, like, how are you switching schools without your parents' permission?
Yeah. It's like the movie Magic, I think. Like all these movies, they have like that element, I feel, where it's like, wait, if you think about it too hard, you're like, this is, how are you disguising yourself? Like, and then, like, this just doesn't make sense. Maybe, well, if she's posing as her brother, though, maybe she's just going under the radar, right? Because he's supposed to start at that school.
Yeah.
And maybe she came up with
right.
I think she probably came up with an excuse at her own school that she was sick or something. Like, did whatever her brother had suggested. Is my guess. They don't really show that, but that's.
Yeah, because like, isn't this only supposed to be a span of like 2 weeks or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of rom-coms are like that, where literally they meet people, they fall in love with a month or less. Like, it's very rare. I think the only times we really see it go for long periods of time is like when it's going from best friends to lovers, like when Harry Met Sally and Boys and Girls, that kind of
like
stuff.
years go by.
Yeah, but these films, like I met him yesterday, we're in love.
The teen experience.
Yeah,
That's true. Relationships come and go when you're a teenager.
I do know that, like, you know, like a Nancy Myers or a Nora Ephron film with a more mature woman, they do stretch it out a little more. But definitely adults writing about teens or like really young people, like to condense that time frame. But I love a good like gender swapping, like switching places story. It's the Mary-Kate and Ashley movies, like growing up in me, that just loves a good.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever tried to trade places with anyone or no?
No, we were too good. Yeah, in school, like we did.
I mean,
I think the most I ever did was like give my sister my old license so she could get into clubs before she was 21.
Yeah, I took my mom's because I look a lot like her, well, especially back then. But yeah, there was no one to swap places with. There was only like maybe 5 or 6 Black people, just like in our grade.
Gotcha.
So that wasn't happening. And Jackie and I couldn't switch. As
maybe
much
an
as
early 2000s movie though.
Yeah.
And as much as we are like soul sisters, we weren't pulling that off.
No.
Well, we've tried and it didn't work.
Yeah. One day.
One day, maybe.
I love in this movie, like when Viola as Sebastian reveals herself, like with the wig, like taking the wig off, like Channing Tatum's character, he's like, well, just because you have a wig doesn't mean that you're not a boy. Like he's like not convinced. It's like the funniest thing to me.
That's why I'm like, I think he really wants Sebastian, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
He was feeling some butterflies.
Would have loved to explore that. I didn't remember actual Sebastian dropping his shorts.
Yeah, that was a weird flex.
That was funny.
He's very confident.
Yeah.
Very, and then the dad makes a comment, which I get. He's like, "That's a comedy," but
He's like, does he say that's my son or something like that?
Yes.
Why doesn't
Jesus.
Viola get that same reaction?
I know there's no support.
Was he gonna say that's my daughter?
No, but maybe her mom. I mean, obviously her mom wouldn't, but you know, it just would have
Be
been
like,
nice.
put your fucking clothes back on. What are you two doing out there? What the hell? I didn't pay all this money for y'all to be tripping out on the damn
Embarrassing me out on the field.
I would have loved a She's the Man, like directed by Paul Feig, like a Bridesmaids style.
Yes.
Like
him and Amanda Bynes together would have been an amazing combination. I would have loved to see something like that.
do you think if Amanda didn't retire, she would be like a Melissa McCarthy figure? Or?
Yeah, I think I really think Amanda could have done anything really that she wanted. But I just think she was struggling with it a lot. I think for a lot of kids in Hollywood, because Hollywood is just so tainted, if you don't have parents that are going to be all over you and make sure you're okay and never leave you alone, that's like I think that's the only way you can survive the system. You know, if you look at the differences between the kids that everyone's like, oh, these kids go on drugs, but it's really the system is effed up. There's a new documentary coming out about all these people behind the scenes on these shows that were going from Nickelodeon to Disney, and they were sex offenders. They were doing horrible things. And to this day, like a lot of the people who were on those shows, like didn't even know it was happening because they were in their own lane. They were going home. They had parents on set. Like you look at Zendaya, right? later Disney kid. And then you look at Bella Thorne. They were together at the same time. And they talk about how they were pitted against each other. But Bella's parents were not paying attention. And Zendaya's parents were never leaving her alone. And now you can see the difference in how they handle things, you know? So I think Amanda's parents pushed her into, like, she wanted to do it, but they pushed her into it and they wanted the money. She talked about like how her parents took her money and her being in the conservatorship like benefits them financially, you know, but if she's in their care, why is she walking around the streets of LA?
That's true. Yeah. How is she?
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So unfortunately, I don't think that they had her in best interest at heart. And so many of those kids, you know, I feel bad. Like there should be more protections for these kids.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know. That just makes me think of like Britney Spears. And if I start thinking about that, I don't know. Spiral. Yeah.
And these are just the ones we know about, right? These are just the ones that actually just happen to be famous. There's so many other kids that are in that system, or so many young actors who are in that system that get used, abused, and thrown away, and we know nothing about it. So I just hope that some of this stuff gets exposed. It's going to take some really big stars to actually have the bravery to come out about it. And I hope that there's things put in place to protect these artists, because even though you're young does not mean that you should not be protected.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're young, even more so.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Because sometimes your parents, look at Macaulay Culkin, like your parents, just because they're your parents does not mean they're going to watch out for you, you know? So if you can't just trust the parents, maybe there should be other systems in place to just make sure that the kid is safe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. They're still kids. Don't treat them like adults.
Yeah. Like during COVID, the guy from the Little Rascals movie, the guy who played Alfalfa, Bugs, yeah, he came out and was like, his dad was sexually abusing him. And then when he got on the set of that Little Rascals, somebody else started to abuse him on set. And he was like, it was so sad because it's like they know that something is broken in you and they target you. Like, it's like they find those kids that are vulnerable. They just know. And I was just like, that's just so sad. And years later, obviously you saw that he was on drugs. He was doing a lot of stuff. And if that happened to you as a kid, you do it too, you know? And it's so like available. You know, you look at like Drew Barrymore, she was at clubs when she was like 9, you know, like there are little pictures of her in a bar, in a restaurant, or at parties with grown adults laughing and giggling at her. She's so cute. Like she's like a
little doll that like is there for their entertainment.
Yeah.
And anybody with sense would be like, where's your mama? Like, what is happening right now? You think I could be at a party and it's not a wedding, and there's a 9-year-old with a glass of champagne, and I'm just like, oh, there's Drew.
It's like with Drew Barrymore, the mom was right beside her, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean I'm not calling CPS. Yeah, there's a child here drinking, doing lines in the bathroom. Disgusting. I would have taken it myself. Right. You coming home with me. Your mama ain't right.
Oh, definitely. Well, hopefully the tides are turning. You know, I don't see as many kids like having that child stardom, which for better or for worse, you know, but I don't know. I feel like when we were growing up, it was like prime time for child stars. Like we're like the prime Disney generation, the Mileys, the Demis, you know.
That's because now they don't have a centralized place for children. And actually what we're experiencing is a whole nother issue, which is children don't have places, right? You don't have a Disney channel. You don't have like, if you go to Netflix, everything is open unless you as a parent are putting those restrictions. So now you have kids going to Sephora and they're trying to do their makeup
We
routines
were literally
because
talking about
yeah.
this episodes ago.
there's no place for them. There's no tweens area
Yeah.
for kids anymore. It's like you go from the daycare area time, elementary school time, and there's stuff targeted to them, and then after that it's over. And
Nothing in
I think
between.
we're experiencing that kids are not being kids. They're going on YouTube and watching influencers and on TikTok, and there's no like this is just for kids. And so that's a little scary because now these kids are not growing up in the way that you would want a kid to be. They're not going outside anywhere. It's just like so many different things. I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I back in my day, we would be outside all day. But yeah, no, I think now you're having the opposite. You're not going to get teen stars in that same way because everyone's trying to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not to ever talk about Beyonce, but why is Blue Ivy at every goddamn event? That girl's 11. Take your ass home. You don't need to be on the stage with daddy making a statement about your mom not winning Grammys at the Grammys. You're 11.
Did
Why
you
is she
guys?
there?
Yeah.
At least he took her up on stage rather than leaving her in the audience.
With her mama.
I forgot Beyonce was there. Beyonce looks so different at the Grammys. I forgot Beyonce was there.
She's in her country era, Jackie, with her Becky blonde hair. And I love it. I love this journey for us.
Did you guys see not Homecoming? It was her Renaissance, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that there's a whole journey with Blue, you know, dancing and the criticism and getting better. I want little girls to see that.
Yeah.
Like Blue Ivy learning how to,
I mean, look, your mom is Beyonce. I get it. But also,
you're 11.
You're 11 years old. I know what her parents are doing, but also, like, again, I love Beyonce. Okay. Love her. Love Blue. I'm just saying that this is like the situation that we're in. Like, these kids are not being able to be kids. That's not to say that Beyonce's not letting her be a kid, but like it was just an example.
Yeah.
Bayhive, I know you fine people. Please don't come for me. I'm one of us. I'm one of y'all.
You sound like me criticizing Taylor Swift on every single episode.
True.
Oh, I could do that all day. Jackie won't, but I ain't got no problems. I ain't got no problems. Tay can get a few criticisms from me.
I'm flying halfway around the world to see her. So
is she. Fuck the world. Fuck the carbon emissions. Whatever. Tay-Tay's gotta go see her fake boyfriend. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
She's not even the top 10 of
Don't
carbon
care.
Emissions.
She's still doing it. And I'll talk about the other people too.
And she pays to offset her carbon emissions.
And
what do you like, grow more trees or?
Yeah, you pay to plant trees, and she doubles all of her carbon emissions. She pays to.
And you know why she has to do that? Because
she's under a microscope because of people like you.
Not like me. The college boy's been doing it, and it's not just her that's under a microscope, but she's got one of the bigger emissions, and it's unnecessary. That's the thing. Like, once you become a billionaire, none of them are ethical. And I can say that about Beyonce. Right now, she's under fire because there are people on her label that are calling her out that they're not getting paid properly. You have to believe that once you become a billionaire, you are no longer an ethical human. You have had to do some shit to get there. People don't understand what $1 billion is. They hear 1 million and 1 billion. It's like such a leap to get to 1 billion. Yeah. It's insane. They are not us. They are just taking from us. And I just think at a point where there's a certain amount of money that you can have that you're not going to use.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be doing more. And we, as a population, should put the pressure on them. I have no sympathy for them. I have no sympathy. Poor Taylor, that she's making so much money and that she's doing all these carbon emissions and she has to buy trees. By the way, if you look into those trees, who owns those trees? Do you know that there are corporations who are trying to get those trees and own them so that they know they're fucking up the planet, but they have contingency plans in place to like fuck us over even more.
Own the tree.
We all need, yes.
This is
They
wild.
own land. They own the land on purpose. It's fucked up.
She's the Manson adaptation of, you know, Shakespeare. We're living in an adaptation of the Lorax.
We're in the dark days. It's coming to an end.
I love that, as you say, with an inflatable chair behind you in the background and a Nirvana poster.
I'm trying to just live. If I could go back in time, I didn't know how good I had it. I didn't know how good I had it. I'd live without a phone. Yeah. But
any more about She's the Man?
I miss Amanda Bynes. That's all.
Yeah. She shows up on my FYP sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, Amanda, I just want to like take care of you, make sure you're all right.
Yeah, I'm like, is anyone looking out for Amanda Bynes?
Yeah.
Like, does she have anyone close looking out for her? Like, really?
No. I saw a conspiracy theory where someone said that she's been replaced with a clone.
Yes, I saw that too. I don't believe it.
Is this like
I don't
Avril
either.
Lavigne situation or
something like that, I guess. I mean, I go down the rabbit hole pretty bad, but that for me, I'm like, come on, y'all. I can't.
Yeah.
For what? Like, why? Why would why?
Wouldn't they have to clone her when she was born as well for her to be the same? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that just don't
make sense. Also, like, you don't need to have her alive to make money off of her. Sometimes people are richer after they die. So what's the point of cloning her?
Yeah.
Not that I want her to die, but you get
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just that like reeled me back to when I was reading Britney Spears's book, and then I had a like full-on panic attack because I created a conspiracy theory while I was reading it. The ending of the book is very different than the rest of it.
Right.
The rest of it is just like a string of consciousness. It very much sounds like a late teenager wrote it. Like it's very, and the last like chapter and a half are just so different, and it feels very rushed. And I'm like, did something happen to her? And she's either completely incapacitated and couldn't finish the book, or she died and they're like, we have to get this book out. Let's just hurry up and,
oh my God,
and finish it and get it out. Like, I just started reeling because I'm like, this feels so different, and this is not her writing it. Like, I panicked. So
I've
I'm
had
like
that feeling for a long time, to be honest, not to also for keep it going, but
well, compounded with like her Instagram reels and like the conspiracies that it's all AI at this point and stuff. Like, it's just like things seem to be adding up, and it's not looking good for Britney, and I need to go do a welfare check on her.
I know. We should all just go.
Right?
Yeah, well, they had to do something to get the Free Britney movement to die down. So now we're all like, oh, she's fine.
They want us to forget about Britney.
We really shouldn't have let our eyes. First of all, that wedding. Can we talk about it?
That wasn't real.
It wasn't right.
So I side-eye all the attendees, right? Like, the only person that made sense was Paris Hilton because that's her girl. But why was Drew Barrymore there?
Selena Gomez?
Yeah, didn't the celebrities say that they're like, they didn't even know why they were there, really?
It was so weird. And yes, maybe like, I don't think Britney was ever on drugs, right? And I know she's been through a lot. I don't know if she has or not, but Britney always looked just, her skin, everything gorgeous. Whoever that is looks like someone who's been strung out on coke for 20 years. It's
and
just
she was on like very high doses of essentially tranquilizers, like keep her drugged so that she didn't like have the willpower to like argue back during the conservatorship and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the first
Lithium,
thing
right?
after she was taken off her conservatorship. She was like, I want weaned off of all of these medications that you guys have me on. Like she felt like she was just like underwater for 7 years, you know?
Yeah. And I heard that knife situation, that when she was playing with the knives,
The
that
dance.
she actually accidentally like one of them hit one of her animals and hurt
Oh,
them, and she was like really upset. It's just like, what the fuck? So like,
they're
who's
not prop
letting her with
knives?
the knives? No, they
they
were
were
real
real
knives.
like butcher knives, like
Yeah.
kitchen knives.
The spinning is not weird to me because she's been doing that her whole career.
Yeah.
Let's be
she
honest.
spins.
But also, since we're on the Britney train, can we talk about what a douchebag Justin Timberlake is? Because like
Oh my
everyone
God.
everyone
Don't get
was
me started.
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, right?
Mm.
Like people are like, let him have his song, let it be okay. And Britney's kind heart wrote and said, hey, you know what? I just want only good things, because all of her stans were pushing her song that was the same name on the chart.
Selfish. Yeah.
Right. And then this motherfucker, like, do you not get it? We are in the age of the internet. Why would you do this? Why? Even if you think it, why? You have not made it out yet. I think he thought he was out of the woods.
No, it was not.
He's a man in the
In the
woods.
woods. Yeah, that's what he said
Right.
he was.
And he went and he's like, I don't have to apologize for anyone. And then saying, cry me a river. I'm like, but I'll say this, the Black community ain't never forgot. And we did not forgive him
Yeah.
because Britney has not done anything that we could say that is like racist or suspect or side-eye, nothing. And we fucks with her. Like a lot of people ask, you know, name a Taylor Swift song to the Black community. Not a lot of people would know. But Brit, we rocks with her. So when Justin was with his bullshit, we're like, nah. And after Janet, we're done with you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Take your
Yeah.
black scent cosplaying ass and go sit down somewhere because you're done. Unless you're on tour with NSYNC, and I will give my money. But that's because it's NSYNC. And that's
It's
all.
not for you,
It's
Justin.
not for, I'm gonna write on
It's
my
for
ticket.
JC.
I'm only paying for the 4 people. I don't know him.
It's funny you say that though, and I'm like, you know, don't like Justin Timberlake. However, if he created a bop with Timbaland, I might be into it.
No, I'm down with Timbaland too, because the archives of him sexualizing a very young Aaliyah and talking about this grown ass man, because he was like almost in his 30s when he met her and she was like 15, 16, and he's talking about he's in love with her. What?
Yikes.
But that's another conspiracy. Aaliyah's death.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. And that's got Damon Dash and Jay-Z's fingerprints all over it. But we're
That
not
plane?
talking about it.
Okay.
I mean, we can, but we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dirtbag too. Poor Nelly Furtado. Get out, Nelly.
But those hits.
I know.
But they tried to make another song. It was trash.
Yeah.
They ain't got it no more. It's over.
Yeah. Too bad we're not in 2006.
I know.
It's a good time.
It was. Well, we're gonna
She's nice.
play promiscuous and, you know, right off into the sunset.
It's a banger.
Truly. This soundtrack to She's the Man had a lot of bangers, I thought.
I loved it.
Yeah.
All American Rejects. That was my iPod with Nano.
Yeah.
They were on every soundtrack for like a good minute there.
Mhm.
They were.
I love them. I love that what's his face was in House Bunny.
Not Killian Murphy, but the guy who kind of looks like Killian Murphy.
The lead singer of All American Rejects. Yeah. Oh, he does a little bit now that I think about
That's
it.
my dream, man. That's my type.
Killian Murphy.
Or the Veronicas were in the soundtrack forever when they were in the
Mm.
carnival scene.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
Great soundtrack. It was a great movie.
It is. It's very entertaining.
Now, before we wrap this thing up, any other She's the Man, Amanda Bynes?
I just wish she had more comedies. Like when you think about that time period, you think that she was in so many,
Mhm.
and then you realize, oh, it's really not a lot. I can't even find movies where she kind of just made a cameo either. It's just like she had those hits and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And she just disappeared.
Yeah. She was gone.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we could have more Amanda Bynes. I don't know.
know.
I don't know if it's possible. She seems like she's going through a lot, but
It's unfortunate.
still love her, you know.
Maybe
Yeah.
the Sephora kids now will watch this and like What a Girl Wants and be inspired to do comedy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
God can only hope. So I know you were a big fan of Amanda Bynes, you said? Like, what was it about Amanda Bynes that really did it for you?
I think it's just her comedic timing. Like I was all about the comedies and Danielle, like I don't do like straight up romances or anything. So if it got too close to that, like, oh, we're getting on the side of rom in this rom-com, I'm like, I'm out. So and just her comedic timing and the physicality of her humor as well. She could do pratfalls like nobody's business. And so I was all about it.
I love how over the top she is, especially in this movie. Like it's a little much at times, but then I kind of love it. Like it like there's so many moments in this movie that I like laughed out loud just because she was so ridiculously funny.
You were talking about relating to Amanda Bynes before we were on.
I mean, a bit like as a kid, I think like as someone to maybe look up to, you know, she just seemed funny, like kind of quirky and weird. And so, like the Amanda show, I feel like had an impact on me for a while,
Mm-hmm.
just growing up with it. But yeah,
No, I miss her. I mean, she's still alive, but I miss her.
Yeah. Miss her in media and like cinema.
Yeah.
Also,
I just want her to be happy, like maybe on some small little cabin, just away from everything. If she can't be in, the movies.
Yeah, just living her life.
Yeah, just happy. I was happy when she went back to college and stuff like that, but it just sucks.
But on another note, I am excited. I haven't seen it yet, but Anyone But You with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney is another modern day Shakespeare adaptation. So I'm excited for maybe a She's the Man 2025 or something, of that ilk.
Yeah, I saw Anyone But You. Glenn Powell is perfect for rom-coms.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney Sweeney, she was very monotone the whole time. Like she's very quick-witted and she did have really good chemistry with him, but she's not like a rom-com queen that with the comedic timing and everything and just she's not funny. Does that make sense? Like she was reading the lines. What were you gonna say, Jackie?
Oh, I was just gonna say I struggle to like her. Like I want to. I love Euphoria, and I feel like the movies that she's in are interesting enough for me to see. And every time I'm like, okay, maybe this one, and then I'm just like, still not it. And then she made a huge faux pas. Did you see this, Danielle?
Mm-mm.
So she's in Madam Web.
God, I pretend it doesn't exist.
During an interview, she said, "I'm so glad to be part of the MCU." And I'm like, baby, you're not part of the MCU. That is Sony. That is not Disney.
You're in the, I hate to tell you, you're in the MCU adjacent. Okay.
I'm like, oh, she doesn't even do her research.
Poor babe. She already told us she ain't getting a check. Like she's not getting what she's worth, and so she's taking what she can get, and she's dedicated to promoting these as if they're good. She knew that movie was shit. She did. But she did what she had to do. Whatever.
Yeah.
But anyone but you,
I'm gonna watch it.
It had it. Jackie's probably gonna love it. I don't hate it. I just think, you know what it was? This Set It Up on Netflix.
Love that movie.
So good. The whole time I was thinking, why couldn't Zoe Dush, how do you say her last name?
Deutsch.
Why is she not in this? That's all I was thinking though, because then it would have been perfect. It would have been
Did you
perfect for
know
me.
who her mama is?
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Oh. And you know she has
Until,
a
like-
sister too, and they did a movie. The three of them did a movie
Oh,
together.
really?
Her mom is the Leah Thompson from Back to the Future.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And her dad is a producer too, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, yeah. So I'm sorry, she was the weakest link in that movie. And there's some script plot points that I was like,
Gotcha. So she's not our next rom-com queen.
they'll try to make it, also they try to over sexualize her. And I
Mhm.
think with your rom-com queens, that's just not something you
Yeah.
do.
No.
They still had like a booby scene, and I was just like, this was so unnecessary. But because they're so used to her, it's like what Melanie Griffith all the stuff she had to struggle through to like switch from being a sex symbol, and Kim Basinger, like when they did those movies like 9.5 weeks, it was such a struggle for them to be taken seriously. I think Sydney's gonna have that issue,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
because I'm like, there's no need. Like, what? Even in raunchy rom-coms, we don't usually see the lead titties out.
Yeah, not the lead. That's for
Mhm.
sure. But
And look, and I'm all about sex positivity and body positivity. She's got a great rack. I get it. But like I need the scenes it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wait,
Like
do you see her
gratuitous.
actual boobs?
I don't think we see nip, but we definitely get full situation. It's, like when Sandra Bullock did it in The Proposal, where she, their naked scene, it was funny, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
you're like,
There's a
damn,
purpose.
she has a great body, but it wasn't like to sexualize her, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Or more recently, where you do see everything is that movie Jennifer Lawrence was in, No Hard Feelings.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Where it was so like over the top funny, and it wasn't in a sexual manner
Wasn't
at
sexy.
all. And so you're just like, I don't know what I'm watching right now, but this is hilarious. And she went for it, and good for her.
Right.
And so, like, was it necessary? No, but it served way more of a purpose than just showing boobs to show boobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an unnecessary shower scene. But you guys, you watch and tell me if you thought it was
Get back to
unnecessary.
you. Yeah.
I think it wasn't even that the movie was so great. It was the fact that we are thirsty for rom-coms. Give it to
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
Stop with
Definitely.
this drought. Like, I want to go to a movie and see a rom-com. I love my Netflix and streaming ones, but I want to go to the movies.
Yes.
Yeah,
Same.
we say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, bring back the rom-com.
Yeah. Sorry, you keep us to going. We'll go on more tangents. Sorry.
I love it. Every time I'm like, oh, this is a tangent. You guys are talking about something that I'm like, well, yeah, I do agree. Let's
Danielle
take
is
this tangent.
really good at tangents.
Yeah. There's not a rabbit hole I'm not going down.
I did feel like, in Knocked Up, the website they have where it's like every naked celebrity. I feel like I
Yeah.
just turned into Seth Rogen when you said Sydney Sweeney's boobs, and I was like, what? I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We should do this again
Yeah.
sometime.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, no more late fees.
Well, yeah, if you like 90s and 2000s movies, definitely check out our podcast, No More Late Fees. And we're on social at No More Late Fees on pretty much everything: TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I said Twitter
Threads.
because threads.
There you go.
I must say your TikToks lately have been really good.
Oh, thanks, because TikTok thinks it's trash.
Oh. I liked your, what was it, Southern movie recommendations.
Oh,
like that.
that one on Instagram. I just wanted an excuse to use Titus's pictures from Kimmy Schmidt. I never asked you, Jackie. Did you see that?
I think I was scrolling through it and I saw like, I'm really bad about not stopping and watching the whole thing. I always watch like her face immediately changes. But I did see that you were doing well, it was because I'm like, this is just an ode to Beyonce. And that's all this is.
Well, in my defense, it's a trending sound. So I had to make it work.
100%. And I have had that song stuck in my head for days. Like, no shade to Beyonce and her country music song, I Live in Texas. Like, I really enjoy that song, but I was just like, Danielle's really capitalizing on Beyonce right now.
You're lucky I haven't bought a cowboy hat yet. I'm just saying, if you see us on our next episode.
Well, I mean, I've resisted the urge every day since that song came out to be like, hey, Brie, let's do a hoedown throwdown TikTok to Beyonce's new song.
You should. Let's do it.
I texted my hairdresser and sent a screenshot of Beyonce's blonde hair. I said, I'm thinking this is where we need to go. And she's like, bitch, if you don't stop texting me. She's like, absolutely not. We're not bleaching your hair.
I'm here for it. Well, thank you guys again so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again to No More Late Fees for being on this episode. And
thank you to all our listeners.
Please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.